Tonight, I just want to surrender to the free flow, without predetermining what something should be, before I open up into a more universal point of view about myself and about my life here. Not seeing the whole picture seems to be the limiting factor in where we begin to live lives that we don't enjoy anymore. So, despite your circumstances, it seems necessary for you to be fully present in your life as a creator, as an entertainer. In other words, you're not here to be entertained, you're here to entertain life in some way, showing some level of mastery over some aspect of life, where the rest of us, when you're doing your bit, we're amazed. And so that would be my choice for a society, is where we each open into our own unique form of mastery. Mastery that's moved by a state of peace and grace and a compassionate love. And heaven knows that that's not been my reality here. So as you realize and experience how far you've traveled from the truth, until you get to a point where you're literally trapped here and have lost consciousness of how life is such a miraculous thing for you normally, and will be again when you awaken divinely responsible for your life, And it has to be in the moment that you're considering this, because you can't put it in the past and you can't put it in the future, because those are just describing things. It's not the present. And so presence in the present, with all your faculties, with all your wisdom, all your abilities, all your competencies, here and readily available, where you're integrated and self-supporting, where you're not sabotaging your own success in living life as you desire to. And so as I acknowledge that for myself, it begins to free me from that person I became as I failed to exist here in a manner that made my life worth living. Not that I've ever been suicidal, but it's not as if I wake up in the morning excited for the day. No, it seems like I continually find ways to sabotage that. And each time I acknowledge that, it highlights something within me that's, feels fairly solid, but as my attention's been called to it, then it's to observe a continuous movement of transformation moving through it. What does that feel like to a body? That's allowing for a transformational shift in the moment of now, not in contemplation, but the experiential understanding that comes with what you're talking about is your
Carmen
own
Combo,
experience.
WhatsApp video. Carmen Combo.
Okay. Hello.
My apologies. Give me 1 second.
Ah, not a problem. We're
Solo estoy tratando de solucionarte,
We're-
mi amor, y que me lo aceptes con amor.
we're already in
Okay.
process.
Give,
I'm 6 minutes into recording now.
give, okay, David, I'm sorry. Okay. So I'm here.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No. Look, we're not here to be who we normally are to each other. That's the first thing to put your attention on. I'm not here to, be the guy that doesn't really know what to do with his life. I get stuck in that because I gambled on things, thinking that would be a better use of my time than what I came here to do and be. So in regards to anything I ever say to you in the future, if you want to be a true friend to me, if it has anything to do with anything other than me doing my sessions and my art and my videos and whatever emanates from that. So, because I want my life to be worth living. It hasn't been. I really haven't enjoyed it, really at all, ever. For some reason, I've lived my whole life without really being in it, without really being present, without really giving this life any importance at all, dismissing it as a low-level consciousness experience that I was soon going to be done with, and so I really didn't have to pay attention to it, and that led to a sad life, because you're here to pay attention to whatever it is you're experiencing right then in that moment, not something else. You're not supposed to be worrying about the future. You're not supposed to be lost in the past, and you're not supposed to sit here mesmerized by somebody, talking to you on YouTube or anything else like that. You're here to give yourself the most beautiful gift that you can imagine. And that is the emergence, the re-emergence within your experience of the body of this blissful flow of love that is the very essence of you. So now what governs the body is you opening into that divine self-awareness. In that state, seemingly everything will, just automatically heal and optimize itself. But I don't really want to get stuck on that in talking about the future, because right now it's the only thing that actually matters. And let's see, get my portable portable recorder. Okay. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So rather than considering consciousness as a problem, because our experience of our consciousness is admittedly to ourselves fairly disabled from what it could be. And we really don't know the solution on how to make it better. Now you know it can be better because you've had better experiences of yourself and at your best, at your freest level of consciousness. What are the peak experiences, peak states of consciousness that you've allowed yourself to experience over your lifetime? Now we all know that they disappear as soon as they're over and you're back to your normal state, and hopefully somewhat better than that, having had that experience. But the tendency is you have a moment of an interlude of divine transmission and expression. And then when it's over, it's over. And all you know is you're back in your life of relative suffering, and yet there's a reality out there that is real and true and encompassing everything else, and yet somehow here and now we allow ourselves to feel tormented. And since now is the only thing that there is, how do we face that torment right now in such a way that right now, whatever debt that needs to be paid is paid in full? Let's just let it all happen. Facing and opening and experiencing the totality of whatever that torment or those many torments are. And in that surrender to the experience of them, all debts have been paid with that. All you have to do is truly experience it once. And you can hold hands with God while you do it. Matter of fact, that makes it so much easier. A god and a goddess, one of each. So that wherever you look, whatever you hear it as God hears it. Until the structure of your own mentality ceases to identify with the thoughts and the ideas and the theories and the philosophies and all the rules of humankind to manage a bunch of badly behaved animals. And you're not looking for an improvement on that, although an improvement on that will be the result. That's not the point. The point is the experience that each of us have of reality here is fairly accurately described as a dream. They're like going to the movies, and so we're experiencing ourselves at such a low level of consciousness that we really don't have any idea what we did the last 14 billion years since the universe began. Our only memories are the few that we have of this lifetime. And now AI is getting so good in such a short period of time, then, we know that reality itself will be competed with by different versions that you can sign up for with AI. That's certainly coming. And, but what of us? Who are we? Are we here to be entertained? Are we here to be feel secure and supported and to just be able to enjoy the experiences that you have with the body, with friends, with family, with those people that you most enjoy interacting with? And first and foremost, that has to be yourself. You can't be your best to someone else if you're creating suffering for yourself. All of your best wishes, let's just say they're not very miraculous for someone else when you treat yourself so poorly. Because it's a poor state of mind. That's what we're afflicted with here. But all we have to do is acknowledge that is our consciousness. That is how we speak, how we move, how we think, and how we act. We act entirely consistent with how the physical universe thinks we should be doing for somebody doing relatively well. But even if we just decided to bring it up a notch from worldly standards, because this is really about what is your consciousness going to be for the rest of your life? What sort of range, what sort of control do you want to have? Why not have a range of control where you can have all these varied experiences that your imagination might want you to experience before you say, I'm done with this life. It was a beautiful one that fulfilled me in every way, and I think generally was experienced, if not in a joyful way by everyone, but at least they can each find a way to smile at something that we experienced together. Because there were enjoyable times, and I've been complaining about never enjoying my life, but I've certainly had many enjoyable experiences and many good friends. And many times, some success. But underneath all of that was an aching that was so severe that I couldn't focus on hardly anything at all in this world. Just I did the bare minimum I had to do to get by and take care of my responsibilities as best I can. In other words, I allowed myself to be defined in such a way that I had to struggle and be clever in order to make a living. That's a little bit nuts. Yeah, and so as I say these things that are true about me, the point is you can experience what's real and true about you and take your medicine by admitting that you were, wow, so not free. so not actually being a revelation to somebody else. You know, when have we ever been an experience by which somebody else was profoundly touched and it changed their life, where they realized that they could be much better than they were before they met you? Better by their own determination. No scale necessary, just somebody says, yeah, that was, wow, thanks. Something like that. Have I still got you with me?
Yes.
Oh, good.
So many moments like that, so many stories, so many memories, changing life, and yeah, like trying to change our own life. We were just changing people's life around, and it was beautiful all the time.
Well,
And I guess now we're ready to do it ourselves, to really change and receive and really experience the wow of life.
oh, well, thank you for bringing that up. Let me tell you something interesting. As you started saying that, I had a judgmental reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where, you know, I was in, you know, maybe some sort of disbelief or something, and that lasted for a couple of seconds. And then the next thing that happened was I came back to myself. And the idea of having anything affect me negatively by something said or done to me by somebody else, it's, at my best, I can't conceive of how that could happen to me. So how do we open our chronic state of how we experience ourselves? How do we open that up? Right now. Because we can't make a plan for it. Because it doesn't work that way. It's either you or it's not you. And there's no transition point. So are you the collective human unconscious? Or are you the beginning of a new way of being here? Are you that evolutionary step of higher consciousness, choosing to enjoy itself here? Not to play games of good and evil and right and wrong and being on the side of the right and just. No, that's, who would want to be at that level of consciousness? That's nuts. That's the whole way of being is retarded. And I know you're not supposed to say that word, but what is retarded? That's holding back on what you could easily be doing. And so if we're talking about something as fundamental to our experience of life as us being present, with our mind not wandering off to imaginary conversations with other people, or wandering off to your past life and your friends and enemies and family and all of that. But no, all of that happened and you were there. The problem is now you're getting too many options on what to think about because you've been here so many years.
Mhm.
But you got to do it like a little kid. He got transferred to the kindergarten across the hall. Well, now all those friends on the other side are gone, and now he's got a whole new room full of friends, and he's playing with them. He's not crying about the friends that are gone. He's enjoying his current experience of that day rather than regretting the past or planning for the future. He's there present, doing what's entirely appropriate for his age. Now, when we get to our age and you analyze your physical, mental, and financial circumstances, you know, there's some things that you have to take into consideration pragmatically. Regardless of how divine you are, unless you've opened up enough to be able to miraculously provide for yourselves in such a way that you can still maintain the integrity of that level of consciousness.
Mhm.
And if you're going to attain that level of consciousness, should it just be for that one moment of right now where you put so much focus of your self-awareness on that experience in this moment right now? You've gone into absolute communication with everywhere that you compartmentalize yourself so that you're fully integrated and experience a wholeness of all aspects of you know, at the same time right now. And that's where you can transition into remembering who you are. Once you put yourself together, once you're fully baked, and Humpty's all back together because Humpty let God do it,
Mhm.
then we've got some transitioning to do. So, and we can't talk about transitioning and have it lead anywhere. And we can't plan on a routine, you know, and say we're going to do that every day. Well, who's doing something every day so that they can hope to find a way into a more real and true, authentic experience of themselves that's not limited by space and time and identity and dimensions? I know that's a lot of hot air, basically. I'm just trying to impress upon you that
Mhm.
this moment is all we have, as far as we know. After each breath could be our last. The odds are long against it, but it could. And to a better degree than we have been, we should keep that in the present moment all the time, because I shouldn't have too many good active years left. Wow. What am I going to do? Am I going to waste 5 hours a day on YouTube? I better not. I better decide that I'm here and I'm here to do something. And why would I want to be entertained or lost or make the day go away by trying to be entertained? It's a failure right there. If that's the solution, and wow, you know, it's been the solution for everything for me, which is why my life is so painful. So I guess I'm going to have to not think about dialing down on YouTube. No. YouTube is entirely consistent with the consciousness of who I have been being here. I'm being true to this level of consciousness. That's the problem. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And this level of consciousness has been locked in. You know, it evolves very slowly. You know, the changes are imperceptible day to day and maybe even week to week. You know, any measurable, noticeable shift would probably be a month or more. And that's assuming that they're all always going into more and more freedom, you know, more love. And it hasn't been. So, and I keep dancing around the subject. I apologize for that. And the subject is right here, right now. Let me feel the universe in all aspects and time and all dimensions in one flow of consciousness from you right now. Yeah, just open up completely, and I'm doing the same thing. We can each universally experience through the other's flow. And that can only happen when a consciousness surrenders itself to the infinite's intelligence, an ineffable, mysterious, and yet wise. You know, how do you choose the right level? You know, and is this level today what we want to continue on as? Because if we don't do anything about it, that's how we're going to continue. And so how do we set this into motion so that we can't even really steer left or right from the direction that we're going in right now? You know, how does a consciousness get trapped that way? And how does a consciousness open up and transcend? And the answer's virtually always the same for this type of question, and that is pay attention, be present, and as you notice what's going on, open up and embrace it so that you experience it intimately with the intention that you're going to awaken divinely there in that embrace. And it doesn't matter who the embrace is with. It can be a lover, a child, a mom and dad, other family members, friends, strangers. It's always okay to be divinely present and let somebody else give you a hug whenever they want to, because they adore you. So, what would make Lily and David separately be someone that everyone else naturally adores and continues to do that the more and better they get to know them? Because we grant everyone else the freedom to be who they are, while at the same time making safe our own refuge. You know, I've been thinking of different ways to sabotage that for myself in my move, and I'm coming back and realizing that I have to have a place of peace if I'm going to continue on the way that I am and not really change much. I need a place where I can, you know, a man cave. It's for me, whenever I want to be alone and at peace and relax. But that's entirely off subject. So, Lily, if you would put all of your awareness on your experience of your body and your thoughts and the energy surrounding your body and the consciousness around your body. And just feel that and open up more and stay in that opening and allow yourself to feel better and better and better as a result of it, because you will and you are. So let's open and be free. Let's allow all of the things that now needlessly limit us, limit our consciousness, limit our knowing, limiting our energy, our memory, limiting our power and abilities in any or every area. So it's here we awaken it divinely in that room that we made our lives in, and we've got a messy room. It's time to clean it up. So one by one, whoever comes to mind, experience their presence in your mind until you're able to transcend every judgment that you have of them, and to be actually able to experience that divine soul that's on the other side of that mask, even if they don't know it themselves, which of course they don't. But it's okay to know that yours is a mask, and that David's is a mask. Complete fabrication. Now, because we've been paying attention so long and observing ourselves critically as much as we can, and by critically I mean accurately and honestly, and because we've done that, we have a much easier job at just saying and just feeling who and what we are, and just waking up instead of strategizing and figuring out how to. We just and you just wordlessly choose to be open and awake and present here, and you just let that happen, and it happens in a second, almost instantly. And then you allow yourself to everything that's in your body that's not in a harmonic resonance with that, you just relax and allow all aspects of yourself to feel this sublime frequency. And you choose to allow yourself, your energies, your thoughts, your beliefs, anything else that you're still holding on to in your identity and the story of your life, allow that to be sanctified, so to speak, by being seen in a consciousness that you would call divine. And it be you. You can't just say that the best moment of your life is going to be when you meet a truly divine, awakened soul and somebody who looks to you as a friend. Yeah, but that's not why you're here. That's, if you meet them before you're that, then it's your job to connect in such a way that there's an expansion dramatically in a quantum way for your conscious to be fully awakened and present in an effortless way. So, having said all that, feel the wholeness that's real about you. It's always there. It's just a little shift of attention. And then, yeah. And so you now, in feeling your wholeness, it acts as an energetic and conscious support for me experiencing my wholeness in a more profound way. Because my wholeness is still full of shit that's in disharmony. Even though all of my parts are integrated and I'm conscious of everything that I am, I still haven't transcended via, the things that are held in the body. So the temple still needs to be cleaned, and that's why we're having this session, is so that we can each clean ourselves up. And as our consciousness is now ready to, focus and be present, we're remembering that divinity is the foundation of everyone and everything that we know. And so in whatever it is that you're experiencing in your moments of quiet contemplation, right here, right now, allow heaven to experience that at the same time, the heavenly. I mean, if God consciousness is omnipresent, then it's within each one of us, equally and infinitely. And so, as we feel our trials and troubles and sorrow and densities right here, right now, as we feel it right now, since God permeates every aspect of that, we just see God in every aspect of that. So whatever's up for you right now, let's do that for 30 seconds. See and feel and notice that God's in all of it. God's in all of it. Always. And the more you notice it, the more you become true to yourself. So your job as a lost and fallen consciousness who desires to come home to full wholeness and holiness. You're the one that's suffering, which means you're the one that's wrong, which means you're the one that surrenders. And what you do is whatever it is that you think is the very best, if you want to call it God or goddess or source or the void, it doesn't matter what you call it. If by calling it that, it connects you with what's real and true, okay? So the pathway doesn't matter. Can you utilize your pathway to experience the infinite and the eternal right now? Yeah, feel how it leads straight there as you go further and further and further. It doesn't matter which one it is. They all go to the same spot, which is right here, right now, with an awesome realization that absolute transformation in any way that you desire is now an option for you. So seize the day and let go of as many lies as you can. Surrender all of them. And only keep the lies you really love. This is quite a relief for me. My whole spine is purging. Wow. Well, thank you, Lily.
Thank you, David.
Okay, so now, what's your perception of your free-flowing state right now? You feel that wholeness? You feel that oneness between you and I? There's no separation between us in this moment? Yeah. Both our hearts can be open and flowing freely without any significance to it. Because our intention for ourselves and for each other is to experience and support a divine self-realization right now. So, the first thing you have to do is step aside and surrender. And let whatever is divinely self-aware gently guide you in moment by moment on how to surrender wherever you're stuck, so that it then becomes a steady flow of that internal cleansing of everything that attached you to, stuck states of consciousness, identities that can't be changed, lives that cannot be saved. So, we're taking a look at reframing that for ourselves. Because I don't know what my ideal life would be if I continued on as I have been, living on the beach in paradise watching YouTube all day. That's not what I want to do the rest of my life, and I'm flipping getting old. And so I only have now. So what is it? What is it? If I only have now, what is my life? If I only have now, but I could predict now out 24 hours, that what I choose now I could keep choosing tomorrow. It's pretty likely, especially if I have a coach and somebody checking up on me. Yeah, a lot of energetic tightness and tension. But I know I'm not supposed to try to get rid of it, because that doesn't work. I know I'm supposed to accept it as it is and love it, experience it, and see God in it. Then that handles it. So why is it so difficult for me to spend any time doing that? It doesn't make sense. If that's something that I know works, and it does, then why would I give any time at all to me being entertained? Wow. Or distracted. So let's make up for it right now, Lily. Let's just choose to be divinely present right now. We experienced it before, let's experience ourselves fully now, authentically. Beyond identity, just our divine presence that moves through space and time.
Mm. Mm.
Was pretty encouraging. And we haven't given it that many minutes of presence with an expectation that divine realization is just something that happens to us. It's how we live our lives. Realizing beautifully every circumstance that we choose to find ourselves in. We're able to experience it beautifully and share beautifully. Instead of being on guard against potential enemies, let yourself be, let your defense of that be being a person that is so open to and continuously interacting with people, even if you're charging for it, which you should, because why not make a living at it? So connect with me as you energetically invite me to be fully present and divinely realized, so that you can interact with me in a more beautiful way. You're asking me to meet you at a higher state of consciousness, and so yes. Now that's shifting this energetic density that used to fill half my brain and all of my spine and muscles and bones, and it's changing. So let's do it some more. Feel whatever you're feeling. And whatever it is that you feel God there. Whatever it is that you see God there. Notice that you can't feel anything without feeling God there, because it wouldn't be there if God wasn't there. It'd just be another empty space. So give yourself the freedom to blossom, like a bouquet of lilies, each one taking its turn and inspiring the viewer every day of a new blossom. So you've got a cycle. And you have many different aspects of yourself, so you can be in continuous blossoming and a few out of the many aspects of life at any one moment. You can be at your best doing something. But again, that's not the point. That's just another story. And the question is right back to, are we meeting each other in a state of cosmic consciousness and unconditional love? And if we're not, let's take a moment and, yes, of course, open to that. And whatever it was in my heart that was kind of shutting things down because it really didn't want to be felt again, it's now it's okay to, because there's so much support in the very transformation of everything else that you're going through and that I'm going through. So it's okay. It's okay to take a win. It's okay to open your heart. And be at peace. Especially with me. No need for planning or forgiving or connecting or anything. Just you and I each letting go of every impact that was polarized, that wasn't out of their wholeness consciously, which there were many aspects of that, instances of that, which is why I mentioned it. But all of that, all of the rest, they're for us to leave in the past. So now that we've acknowledged them, now we just feel them, because the energy of them has come up in our awareness. And as we feel them, we've been the way that we were because God wanted to experience us as that. So God wants to experience you experiencing transformation right now. So let Goddess have her way and experience you however she wants to. And it's my experience that Goddess consciousness wants to be embodied here. Cleanly and purely. That ambassador of love that melts the hearts of everyone and brings them back into the remembrance of their own magnificently divine self. But you can't share it without experiencing it.
That's fine.
So let's share in such a way that we both are supporting each other's experience of that truly profound Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, cosmic and eternal, the Creator being Lily and David. And the David consciousness and the Lily consciousness, both experiencing each and every aspect of their reality from the experience that this is happening because God wants it to, and God's right here experiencing it right now with me. And I can't feel or tell the difference between me and him, or me and her. Well, I guess I can tell the difference between me and her, because I felt the presence of the Divine Feminine, a few times. And I'm not quite sure what a match would be for that. I just know that I've never experienced myself at a level of freedom and grace and unconditional love that would qualify to be a partner with that. So, but that's what I would enjoy. That's what I would love. Let's ask for it all and say, yes, I know that reality is as it is. But I want to cash in my golden ticket and have that ride of a lifetime, which is a lifetime as a transcendently self-aware and beautifully compassionate love for all other beings. In other words, a human, yes, but it stays of grace so beautiful that it's just an awesome experience to be in their presence. And I don't know exactly what a person that divinely present could do. You know, if that were you, could you actually walk down the street? Or are you in a beautiful, prepared circumstance of a temple where people can come and visit you individually and in groups as you speak to people? Now, again, people who travel and live in strange places most of the time. I did it for, I can't say most of my life, but I know that I've spent some years I had spent more than half the year in a hotel. And because I was getting upgrades on my hotel reservations from staying so many days a year. So I know what a burden it is to a consciousness that's not satisfied with how they're being expressed and realized here. And moving around a lot is not supportive of a stable experience for you, of your consciousness, you know, in your stillness, you know, because that's what you're asked to do. Be still. Because if anything in you is moving, then it's not paying attention. And so whatever it is that is you, the purpose of it right now is to pay attention to what its experience of right now is. And in all aspects of yourself, making that observation from every point of view that you have. Remember what's important to you. And start taking care of your life in such a way that you don't have any fears about the future. Whatever it is that you think about the future will be in eager anticipation of something that's going to be wonderful for you. How did I get so lost that, you know, I love music. I don't think I've paid to be in maybe 5 concerts in my life. A couple in my 20s. Then maybe a couple of times in, you know, if you count going to a Vegas show. So, yeah, it's interesting being a person that, you know, my family thinks does a lot. And yet know that I'm not doing 2% of what I should be, what I could be. Even at this level of consciousness, this level of identity, I could be vastly better. Just simply opening whatever pathways of shutdown that have been opened in my past. And so open yourself up to all of the abilities that you developed for yourself this lifetime. Don't shut yourself off and say, that's in the past, I don't do that anymore, it's no longer a part of me. It is a part of you. It's that mastery, whatever it is that you mastered enough for somebody to be impressed with how you shared it. That's something to keep your ownership of, and to whatever degree that you can, in a beautiful way, continue to allow yourself to express that. Because what are our lives going to be about? If I'm going to do that, then my my conversations, my sessions are what I choose. The paintings, and being a good dad to my kids. And being responsible for letting everybody in my family know that I'm aware of them and care for them. And the same with my friends. You know, how many of my good friends do I have just a shallow, rather perfunctory way of dealing with each other, where we never really share anything about ourselves other than being polite and, yeah, I'm your friend, yeah, I'm your friend too. And, you know, we can do that for half a day and go to the gym, play some racquetball, and then it's over. And maybe we talk 6 months later, but you know, it seems to me like if you've got a really good friend and your life is not yet exactly what you want it to be, that it's okay for you to lean on your friends, as in who you communicate to. The majority of that should be to people who love you, or at least in a work situation, are really happy to have you around. You know, where they're inspired by you because you go there with the best of you. Yeah. Well, look at this. We're already. Are we recording? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're at a minute. 1 hour and 10 minutes already.
Wow.
Well, an hour for you because I started.
Oh, yeah. My apologies.
So we have to be extended with this, and that's why I need to start doing intensives for people. I have to develop out that plan and put it on. So, and so just saying that again shifts the energetics of my reality and some things open up and some things tighten up, or they come to the front because it's time to deal with them. That might be closer to the truth, but again, it all comes down to the same thing. There's something that's impinging on your thoughts, on your sense of self, something that's opposing or disapproving in some way. And so feel it divinely and allow God to be present in your experience. Because if God consciousness is present in your experience of the interaction, if you're just looking and saying, okay, I feel this, where's God in it? Then you see a glimmer or feel a glimmer. And once you notice it, then if you stay in that noticing, then one by one, everything that you're feeling, transmutes into a more sublime expression of itself. So it's like a snake shedding its skin, and each day that awakened being is dropping the skin off from the day before and saying, what a beautiful day. Let's flow freely with an eager anticipation of the beautiful beings that we're going to share a divine awakening with today. Now that's silly even just to say, but once it's been said, it's been said. It's been a contemplated reality. And once there's a contemplation and experience of a more free, more real, more true reality, when somebody actually experiences that, then, creation's begun. And creation requires consciousness. So if you're going to create a new way of being here, then it's your job to be here as that. Not talking about it, but living it. And in this, I'm talking to myself because I know I can be interesting and be right. But at the same time, I know that to do that, all I have to do is get close enough to truth to hear God talk, basically. But it doesn't really feel like it's coming through me because my physical expression here is still so disabled in so many ways, consciously, that things seem to be out of sequence, so I can't figure it out, and so what do? I give it all to God, and so that's what we're doing right now. Everything you feel, just give it to God. All of it all together, all at once, right now. Oh my goodness, a smile. A smile happened. There was a moment of enjoyment. Wouldn't that be nice? Moments of true enjoyment, being at joy in the moment. Yeah, all this stuff from, I don't know, my stomach, back, middle of my back, from my navel back to my solar plexus back to my heart back is all just like a big black dark bunch of baggage.
Mm.
And it goes up to my head and around my neck, and so I've got a lot that's willing to see God with me, so let's do it. Because that's the reason why half your opponents are here anyway. They know they've got a chance of waking up if they interact with you. So let them pretend that they're who and whatever they are. They just want to spend a little time with you and see if magic will happen again like it did the first time they met you. And your job is not to be magically whole with somebody and then forget that you had that experience yourself. And yet they remember. So I have to confess, of course, I'm talking about myself. I'm always trying to figure it out instead of just letting myself notice God. Because God conscience doesn't have to figure it out. It already knows. It knows that if you open up to experience God in your own body, that causes every lie at every level that has any connection to you in your memory, in your mind, in your thoughts, in the memory of every cell of your body. That's where God appears for you. Everything that you feel, everything that you see is the goddess revealing herself to you so that she can see divine reality and divine truth through your eyes because you're the one choosing to be the temple of God. So you have to allow for the fact that the story of you is going to have a happy ending, and that is you remembered and experienced yourself again at a level of truth that set you free. It was like being released from an insane asylum where you were delusional the whole time. And then one morning you woke up and that story was over. You're back to your wholeness, your brilliance, your mastery. So now that you're back in your brilliance and your mastery, and you're making big choices, there's only one that matters. Are you choosing to say yes to your own divine presence, present in this body, in your body? Are you saying yes to embodying that truth? And if you are, actually say yes and actually open and actually receive the transmission, the transformation. Actually allow for the change. Willingly surrender everything that you've held on to in a lost and fallen consciousness. Allow that sense of self to remember its truth and thereby let go of everything that it cherished needlessly. Because you don't need false supports anymore. You don't need stories to hold you up. So each time you wonder how to start, realize that you forgot and stopped being present, and just choose to be present in your body again, and that the focus of your awareness is here, so you're here and present. You're present and focused. And your focus is on noticing God. And in your focusing on that, you experience everything and everyone is God, including yourself, and that begins to rewrite the story of you to yourself. Until you're awakened now. You're born again. You're a movement of unconditional love and compassion and grace and brilliance and success. Success. Where does this success come from? It's whatever you can divinely embrace, be excited about, be effective with. If, for instance, it had anything to do with what I'm selling, you allow for your transformation into not just bringing you back to all of the essence and beauty and brilliance that you so effectively expressed when you were younger, in your mid-20s or early 30s, whatever that was. But first, yes, be present in all that. That actually happened to you. That actually was real. Now you can re-experience it to whatever degree you want to, with allowing God to experience it as you experience it. Allowing Him, but asking her and saying, look, I know it's already there. It's already real. It's already true. I'm just asking for, I guess what I'm really asking for is, help me notice. Help me notice the divine in other people, because it doesn't seem like they are. Doesn't seem like they're interested in even contemplating the subject of what would it be like if I were one that awakened. And awakened in a manner that, however I described it, I was free, I was joyful, I'm at peace, and I can't wait for the next second to happen because I'm having such a good time in this one. There, okay. Yeah, you and I, at least on my side, had some of the most enjoyable experiences of my life. And I'm sorry that I was the cause that there weren't many, many more. But now I know that I can. And now I just have to say, okay, in bringing order into this chaotic life of mine, now that I've chosen to make a move and be in a different part of the country. What are my goals? What am I going to set up? When am I going to start? And how dedicated am I going to be to doing this? It seems so foreign to me because all I've been doing is talking about it. I've been wasting all of my time on other things instead of diligently mapping out what needs to be done for me to start selling my paintings and getting the book published and the 1,001 other things. Well, again, just mentioning how it's been accurately, connects me to how it's been intimately, and as I'm now kind of automatically noticing God in everything, then whatever darkness I can enter, soon dissipates, so I just have to walk into each room in the Temple of David, and take a big breath and blow it out in the room and saying, let that be God's breath, and bring back to me, awareness of what I need to be paying attention to. So in the physics of your own body, feeling your breath, feeling your head, feeling how you're sitting or laying down, and how that affects your body. And then just choosing to allow God as consciousness within the experience of you experiencing you. Well, that's quite a shift. And it's one you can make. I think you've gone to sleep on me. I'll tell you, you should be listening to this tomorrow then. We have gone on for quite some time, and so if somebody's watching this, you can stop, because what I'm about to do is to give myself some silence to sit into this, and I'll probably say some more things, but there'll be some long silences. So if you want to continue on, then whenever I'm silent, put your consciousness on experiencing. Yeah, close your eyes, sit down, put your consciousness on whatever it is that's attracting your attention in your body or your mind, and give it that attention, and then choose to notice the spark of God consciousness there. And whatever you're feeling, the only reason you're feeling it is so that God can feel it. So the whole purpose of you being in the circumstances that you are is so that God can understand what it is to be you. And if you let God experience what it is to be you, then the act of God experiencing that is going to transform your life and give you the freedom that you've been asking for. And so the surrender, it's like everybody says in religions that we stopped respecting and judged as being ineffective. They all say, give it to God. Give your life to God. But along with the words has to be the experience of doing that. So when you say the words, it should be in a setting like this one. Give yourself to God, to where the other person can say okay, and choose to say yes, and choose to open, and connect with whatever God is to them. Because whatever pathway they're on is going to lead to unconditional love. So choosing to be in a place where you can have that presence. Mm. Mm. Lily, are you awake again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pay attention just a little bit more to your presence in your body, you're right on the verge of it being a continuous flow. So I'm pretty sure it'll happen to you this time if you just be still and feel everything and let it be. Just notice God. Just feel God all the time, and then feel everything else too. And every time your energies get tight, you just relax. Well, that was pretty dramatic for me. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like this is just the beginning of a new life. There's nothing to regret, just to live. Oh my God.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because imagine, and you have to because it's real. Imagine that God came to experience the life that you lived. Or goddess, it doesn't matter what you say to the consciousness that's infinite and eternal and loving. But that consciousness that loves everyone and everything, that consciousness experienced every experience that you had in your life. And God consciousness wanted to have that experience as a limited being for whatever reason. But one thing that I'm certain of is that when you choose to say yes to remembering and restoring and reclaiming your truth, the eternal truth of you within the present moment, then you're a completely different person, but you're you. You're you without all the flaws that were fabricated. They were part of a story. They weren't how you are as a divine being, millions and millions of years of that without change. You're only messed up in this lifetime. And if you open to divine remembrance, then that will be the purpose of why you came here and did everything that you did before this moment, is so you could have the contrast and say, yeah, it's better to live divinely. I've tried the other way, and it's not a life worth living. It's not a life worth continuing to live as that for the rest of your life. It's a new beginning, like you said. It's a new story. And it's a story of an individual whose eternal self, infinite self, you decided to now come here as that. And so you're experiencing it right here in this moment. You can feel it. You can feel You can feel how you, in this moment right now, that you fill the universe with both presence and consciousness. And that the nature of you is the same as the nature of God or the goddess or creator. You can't feel the difference between how you feel yourself now and what God feels like to you. So allow that recognition, allow this experience to be the beginning of you being the real you, the realized you, the realized in your body. And physician, heal thyself, your amazing body. And let's feel it right now. Let's focus on what it is. Oh, there's some static or something coming through. What was that? What's that? Oh, you're snoring. Lily? Lily? Okay. So let's watch. And let's feel. Let's stay in the opening of transformation. Already realized, but the energy's still moving. You know, that harmonic resonant effect is still developing. Okay, well that helped out a lot for me. And Lily, I know you're not, you've been, I'd like you to watch this tomorrow if you can, because you missed, I think, 20 minutes or so of it.
Okay.
And I can continue on if you want, but basically we're at the point now where our time is mostly silent, and we're focusing on experiencing our reality with our experiencing God with us at the same time. And God is with everyone, but it's the noticing of it and the experiencing of it in our body that takes us on that transformational journey. Does that make sense? So if you can, in this moment, just allow that to be your experience. You're here with God, experiencing life. And you're hand in hand, arm in arm, with God and Goddess. Wholeness, completeness. You know, a living wonder. So very few things could please me more than experiencing you in that opening, in that remembering, in that daily manifestation of an awakened goddess, moving with love and compassion and grace and power and honesty and, just beautifully present and beautifully conducted in every area of your life. And feel God with that. Everything that comes up on you that's still hanging around that has a program of getting you to forget or be distracted or knocked unconscious or locked into some sort of contract or promise or belief system. All of that gets to go away right now. Because you're done with all of that. Hmm. Yeah, this is quite the experience. It's like I'm systematically being lightened up level by level in all the rooms of my body. Hmm. Okay, I'm back. Again, I did good and then I got lost in the story. Almost a dream. Okay, so now that I'm back, I'm lighter, I'm freer, and I'm flowing, and I'd like to do it again. So I'm just closing my eyes and being still and noticing God and everything about my stillness and what energy surround it. But the only thing I am is the stillness. Ah. And again, pardon me? Okay. Close your eyes. Choose to be stillness. You're not pushing or pulling or resisting or influencing or manipulating anything. You're just still. It's as if you don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't exist with reality, it has no relationship to you. Reality doesn't know how to perceive stillness. It doesn't know it exists. So enjoy your stillness. No one's going to bother you.
Mm. Thank you. Mm.
And in that stillness, with you doing nothing, everything in you is going to be set free. It's that flippin' easy. Be in your stillness and let it all be done. You're not supposed to help. You're not supposed to own it. It's an experience that the body has that divine self-awareness is going to handle, and since you don't identify yourself as that, then you have to allow that to act upon you without you yet knowing that it's you, which is kind of funny. And that's where I am. Even though I know that I'll wake up as it, I'm still surrendering to something that I don't know that's divinely true. But then I know that in that surrender, that it awakens anyone that is there. It awakens them to their divine truth. And there's nothing less beautiful about that than any other divine truth. So it's a cause for celebration of everyone in heaven and everyone on earth, frankly. It's especially nice when somebody on earth embodies their eternal truth. You know, feel the entire earth right now. How many people have embodied their divine nature and treat themselves that way and treat others that way, and others can't help but harmonize their consciousness with theirs, because when you meet a divinely realized being, experience them, it's a homecoming for the prodigal son or daughter, which is what you and I are. When we actually connect with a divinely realized being, we're instantly home, and okay. So that's what we get to experience in this moment, is that aha moment, that even though we're borrowing a divine experience from another divinely realized being, that's allowed. But it's not the whole thing. That just gets you started until you can take responsibility yourself. But for now, it's 100% surrender and 100% stillness. And let everything else just be. Well, it feels like I've come a long way in this session. You know, it happens for me with many sessions, not most sessions, but this one seems like there's a level of competence and or mastery in me that I'm not surrendering. I'm not completely forgetting. I'm beginning to own my realization in a more profound way, in a more actual, conscious way. At any rate, I think that's long enough. We're at almost 2 hours now, so I wanted to spend more time on it, not because it'd be interesting to listen to, but I wanted to put enough time into the choice and the experience in that moment so that we have fundamental change. So that was the wish for tonight. And as always, if anybody watches this, it'd be really cool if it was your last time and that you just, you know, blossomed as your truth and then showed it to all the rest of us. So do that, and the world will celebrate your return. So, Lily, have a beautiful evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Did you enjoy it? A little bit?
A lot. Wow. What about you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Things got a lot better for me.
Wow, it's so healer for me. Like each sentence heals me so much. Oh my God, thank you so much. I love doing it.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'll talk to you again soon.
Talk to you tomorrow, and when we wake up, we'll let the other one know.
All right. Yeah.
Enjoy your night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So coming back to the real world, if you'll allow yourself to conceive that there could be a loving creator consciousness that pervades the entire universe, and that it animates essentially every form and structure of reality, including you, but it doesn't operate outside the rules of kind of like the collective human condition, unless the individuated consciousness is experiencing that life as this is it for them, which is Lily and David. Oh, I just hung up with Lily, but This limited consciousness has to, as the prodigal son, which is my role that I played every day of my life, this is when I choose to return. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, okay. Thank you and good night.